Welcome into the Football Kingdom podcast. We have officially finished week 2 of the NFL season. And this week, it was not a great slate of football games, but definitely some interesting nuggets in each of these games. And we're going to kind of go through those and break those down. Tyler Mallon is with me. I am Brandon Johnson. I wanted to open up with the Chiefs. The Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes have agreed on a restructured deal. Tyler, this from NFL.com. Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs have agreed to terms on a restructured contract that pays him $210.6 million between 2023 and 2026. That is the most in history over a 4-year span.
Back on top.
Yeah, back on top, back where he should be as a QB. And
funny.
Go ahead.
Well, all the people being like, "Oh, Mahomes is underpaid, this and that." It's like, can we just have some patience? Like, this is how this works. You know, like this is how it's always worked. Like, he's going to restructure. You know, we talked about it last week or multiple times. Like, Chris Jones has already restructured 3 times. Like, this is the NFL. It's been the NFL for quite a while. I don't know about 3 times in like however many years like Jones did, but I mean, the dude's gonna get his money, and he's already taking. I don't know why I'm getting on this, but he's already taking team-friendly stuff, just like Kelsey and everybody. Like, he's in it to win it. Definitely. He's gonna get unbelievable money no matter what. So,
yeah, the only thing I will say is I definitely was not expecting that news this week, but it's good to see it.
Nice.
Good to see it happen. Definitely deserving of being the highest paid quarterback in the league. Yeah. But let's get into the Chiefs and Jags. You know, the Chiefs went on the road into Jacksonville after dropping their season opener against the Detroit Lions. This was a game that, you know, was kind of a bounce back for the offense. You had Travis Kelce back in the mix, and it was a time for players like Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore and co to kind of get right with themselves. You know, the team had 9 drops last week, or in week 1, excuse me. And this week, Sky Moore had 3 receptions for 70 yards. Kadarius Toney had 5 for 35. And the offense, I mean, you know, they didn't score a ton of points, but they quietly had a nice game.
Yeah, I missed this game. I went to Kansas City Renaissance Festival with my daughter and mom, and had a grand old time living in medieval. But we were watching the joust, and people all around me. I mean, there's so many Chiefs jerseys out. So good on you, KC. I see you out there. You know, plenty of fans at the Renaissance Festival. But it was funny. The guy behind me, he's like watching the game, you know, on his phone, and he's like, it's like 0-3 or something. And he's like, oh, Sky Moore just scored a touchdown. Like, we're all keeping up with it. But yeah, I was, you know, because you sent me a text in the first half. We were like, offense is sloppy, defense looks great.
Yeah,
it just kept playing out like that the rest of the game.
The defense went out there and handled business. They got their man Chris Jones back, and he did not skip a beat. Chris Jones had 1.5 sacks, and he was a force all around. I mean, they were just not letting Jacksonville do anything, and it was a really good sight to see when you have, you know, a Chiefs offense that's got a lot of young receivers, a lot of young skill position players kind of trying to find their footing and get going, which it's, you know, starting to trend in the right direction. It's good to have a defense that you can kind of lean on and kind of carry you through your growing period. And that's exactly what happened last week. And, you know, if the offense gets going like we know that it can, and the defense continues to play like it will, or like it did, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be a terrifying team throughout the season.
Yeah, I did watch the replay or the recap. I'm shocked that Tony had 35 yards because those are some big yards that he got. he was fighting, and I think the first 3 plays went to him, right?
Yeah, they got Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore just, hey, we got to get you guys some confidence. And that is classic Kansas City Chiefs. They do that all the time. I mean, you see it. Player fumbles, next time out, hey, you're getting the ball first. Yep. They do it all the time.
Sure.
And that's exactly what they did this week. The one thing that I thought was odd, and they kind of came back to it in the second half, but the Chiefs completely abandoned the run in the first half. I don't know what they were doing, but they were not running the football. But then they came out and immediately established the run in the second half. Isaiah Pacheco busted out a 30-yard rush right out of the gate. And then the Chiefs offense finally started to get into rhythm. And, Patrick Mahomes really made one mistake. He threw an interception that he really didn't need to make. But overall, 305 yards, 2 TDs, and an interception, and just a quietly nice game by Mahomes. One special teams woe. Richie James had a muffed punt that set up the Jacksonville offense in really good scoring position, but our defense again only allowed 3 points. So again, really this game, I look at it and good bounce back from the receivers. Great game by the defense. Super, super happy with it. And that's Chiefs. That's Chiefs Jags. Chiefs are 1-1.
Hold on.
All right.
Well, I was gonna say I think Spags has the Jaguars number because I saw them play last year. Like I went to that game and they didn't have a chance. Like they just, I don't know. I think he's got their number every time they play. I mean, on the Jags of it all, like Calvin Ridley is still special. That dude still lighting it up even after his kind of time off, and then the Jags pick him up. I mean, that is huge for them. They got to figure it out, though. Not scoring a single touchdown. I think that says a lot about Chris Jones. I think he does. He had 1.5 sacks. I think he had a blocked pass. So yeah, they need to hone it in here. They're falling to 1-1, but can we talk about the Travis Kelce touchdown celebration punt? Is that the coolest celebrations, and how was that legal?
I was shocked because I think Kelce got 2 personal fouls in the game.
Oh, really?
But yeah, I was surprised he didn't get a penalty for that one because I'm like, I don't know if you can do that, but he did it.
I guess you can because I saw the replay. I was like, that is great. That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And then no flag. I'm like, oh, all right.
Yeah. But all right, are you happy? Are you happy now to move on?
We're done. Well, the Bears play if we want the Chiefs play. If we want to get into it, Chiefs play the Bears next. So, and quite honestly, the rest of their schedule is like pretty much easy street for a while.
Yeah, I mean, they play, like you said, the Bears, and the Bears, I'm not going to say it because any given Sunday, but the Bears just, oof. It could be a long day for the Bears on Sunday. And then they play the Bears, and then they go and play the Jets. Obviously, we know the story of the Jets. They lost Rodgers, so they're kind of an unknown. So
we'll talk about the Jets, but I don't see the Chiefs potentially losing until like after the bye when they play the Eagles. I mean, the Dolphins is going to be a good game.
The Dolphins we'll talk about the Dolphins. The Dolphins are a team that I'm starting to get worried about.
Yeah, the Chargers, and that's it. I mean, you got Vikings, Broncos twice. The Dolphins and Eagles, like,
yeah,
I don't know.
And hey, this last week was the Chiefs' last noon game until Christmas Day. So,
Lord,
a lot of afternoon and late nights for Kansas City Chiefs.
Right.
But I wanted to talk Vikings Eagles, a Thursday night football game this week, and quite honestly, a pretty sloppy game all around. My takeaway is the Eagles, while they're 2-0, they could easily be 0-2. They've
Yes.
had two very ugly wins, but to me, that's kind of the mark of a good team.
Yep.
Is it wasn't pretty, but we left in the win column, and that's what I can say about the Eagles. I think they're gonna start to straighten some things out that they've been going to, but the Vikings were kind of self-destructed. They had 4 turnovers, and one of them was very critical in Justin Jefferson fumbling out of the back of the end zone, and that gives you lose possession when you do that. And we can talk about whether or not that rule makes sense or not, but that is the rule, and very unfortunate for Justin Jefferson to lose the ball where he did.
Yeah, one of the worst rules, honestly. And you know what, you and I talked about it. I really liked your idea of, I think it was your idea of like giving them the ball back, at the 25 or something. Did you say that on your own 25 or something?
I think no. I think if they want to punish you for losing the ball out of the back of the end zone,
right?
I don't think you should lose possession for that, but you could back them up to the 25, not their own 25, but the opponent's 25. So you just have 25 yards to the end zone. It's weird. That's a weird rule, but it doesn't happen enough to where they need to look at it, I don't think.
Probably not. There's the last 2 or 3 seasons, there's been a couple big moments where it's like, man, that kills the whole game, for a team, and that's just tough. That you just so happen to kind of drop the ball, right at the last moment. But
yeah, and what's weird is it wasn't a situation. He wasn't extending. He just straight up, he just lost the ball. So it's one thing if you're extending, you lose it. That's on you. You shouldn't have done that. But
right,
and
that didn't even bounce either. It was like literally midair, and just a tough break. So in that case, it's what are you gonna do? But we've seen it in the past where it's like probably should do something, but it goes to the like, what if you're behind the 25? You can't now move up to the 25. So you have to like make 2 new rules. It's like if you're within 25, if you're in the red zone, then back up to the 25, try again or something. But what do you do if they're farther than that? So it's pretty tough.
I mean, if they throw a 60-yard pass and you lose it and you lose it at the 1, I feel like, or you're at the 1 or whatever and you fumble it out of the back of the end zone. I just think put it at the 25. I don't know. That just makes sense to me.
Yeah, that could work.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. The Vikings should have probably won this game. I think they're 0-2 now.
They're 0-2. They only lost by 6. And honestly, Kirk Cousins had a good game.
Yeah, he did. 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But 360 yards. And they have to go play the Chargers, who are also 0-2 in week 3. So have fun with that.
They will have fun with that. Let's talk about the Chargers.
Okay.
The old Chargers. I am officially putting Brandon Staley on job watch, hot seat watch, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You gotta. I've been saying it all along. He's just. I don't think he's an NFL head coach. He doesn't do a lot of things that make sense, and now he's coming into a season with a lot of pressure on him, and he's 0-2 out of the gate, and 0-2, your odds of being a playoff team are slim. So they've got an uphill climb, and I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't see it with Brandon Staley, but I look at this and I don't think it's Justin Herbert's fault. I think Justin Herbert has played good football. He played good football this week. And yeah, they're 0-2. I don't know what else to say.
No, man, I agree at this point because they lost this game in overtime, and I feel like they should have been able to beat the Chargers. Justin Herbert show us something, but I don't think it's his fault necessarily either. I think they got a really solid team. Now they're doing that without Austin Eckler, this week, potentially next week as well, with an ankle thing, I believe. But, at this point, you're like, you've had a pretty solid team, and how much is that is on them versus the coaching. And, more often than not, you don't make the playoffs or start winning multiple playoff games. Yeah, his job is definitely in jeopardy. It probably should be. I'm not calling for anybody's job, but this is the NFL. You got about 3 or 4 years. And if you're not extremely successful, it
absolutely should be talked about. Listen, this is the Chargers team that blew a 28-point lead against Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
that was terrible in the first half of that football game back in January, and you're winless. And the Titans are, in my opinion, not very good. You shouldn't have lost to the Titans.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's when you're trying to stick with the Chiefs, you got to win against teams that you have no business losing to. And the Titans are one of those teams. So that's tough. But I don't know if you have anything else to add to that.
No.
But oof, that was rough. That was rough for the Chargers because they've had two games now. They hung with Miami in week 1. And
here
they are 0-2. That's how it is. Buffalo, Bills, and the Raiders. So Raiders were in a nail biter in week 1 against the Broncos. And they came out on top. Obviously, Buffalo lost to the New York Jets on Monday Night Football, a walk-off punt return in overtime by the Jets. And the story of that game was kind of Josh Allen. Josh Allen was terrible. I believe he threw 3 interceptions, and he was just making plays and trying to force plays, and none of it made sense. He was playing week 1 like it was the AFC title game or something. Like he had to win it, and it just didn't go well. So you're playing the Las Vegas Raiders. Hey, and to me, if you're Sean McDermott, you got to get with Josh Allen and say, hey, listen, let's put last week in the rearview mirror. We got the Raiders coming up. I don't think the Raiders are very good. I don't know if a coach would ever say that, but hey, this is a good game for you to kind of bounce back. And he was 31 for 37, 274 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he was great, and good bounce back game for him to kind of get right moving forward. You can say what you want about the opponent it was against, but you got to bounce back somewhere, and the Raiders are a good opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I mean, they still have Devontae Adams. Overall, I don't think their defense is very good, but they're not, they're still an NFL team with Devontae Adams. So still a good win. I heard, Josh Allen only put his life on the line once in this game unnecessarily or whatever. So it's a good kind of get right games for him. So
sure. But yeah, Bills ended up winning 38-10. Bills just had their way all day long. And they've improved to 1-1. Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals, an early NFC North division battle. And obviously Cincinnati came off of that game against Cleveland and didn't score a touchdown. Joe Burrow was pretty bad. I think he threw for 82 yards, and This game, there wasn't much exciting to take away from Joe Burrow again. He threw for 2 touchdowns, but I don't know. What's wrong? Is Joe Burrow hurt?
Yeah, they're saying he tweaked his calf again.
Yeah.
And even when he hurt his leg in the in the off season, he was already wearing something on that calf. So he was already hurt before the season even started. And I don't know. Yeah, he threw for 35 yards in the first half. Yeah, they're 0-2 for the 4th time in 5 seasons. Not great, especially when he might not even play next week.
Yeah, they're 0-2. Yeah, like you said, a familiar place for the Bengals. They've turned it around from 0-2 multiple times, but you have a Baltimore team that looks like they might be for real. Baltimore won this game 27-24, but in my opinion, that score does not really reflect this game. Is Cincinnati had a punt return for a touchdown, but again, offense wasn't really flowing. So Baltimore could take this division. They look good through 2 weeks. San Francisco, Los Angeles Rams. Came into the season, Los Angeles Rams, not really sure what to make of them. Come out week 1, beat the Seahawks pretty handily, and go toe-to-toe with 49ers. I think you and I agree that the 49ers are one of the best, if not the best team in the NFC. And 49ers went on the road, if it's really a road game for the 49ers there, and beat the Rams 30-23. Brock Purdy, he was okay, but this was a game about Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey had 116 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Deebo Samuel, same, 40 yards and a touchdown. Rams, Matt Stafford looked good. 370, or he looked okay.
Yeah, he was spreading the ball around. But he's passing a lot. Like, they don't really have much of a run game going. I don't know if him throwing like over 55 times or whatever it was is really their game plan. Or probably they probably don't want that to be their game plan. I'm not really sure, but kind of one-dimensional. Chucking up INTs that were avoidable. But yeah, Niners still look great. Fred Warner is crazy on a team with Joey Bosa. No, Nick Bosa. Still looks insanely good. Yeah, was this a home game for the Niners? Did you see the crowd? Just a sea of red.
Yeah, it was very 49ers heavy.
And that's, of course, Rams and Chargers, whatever that stadium's called, but it's basically an away game every time for them anyway.
Jets, Cowboys. I don't know about you, Tyler, but I might be believing in the Cowboys. I know they played the Jets, but
okay.
Their defense, Micah Parsons,
was
just everywhere. And I thought Dak had a nice day. He did what he had to do. Didn't make any mistakes, which is...
Well, I mean, he probably should have had 2 interceptions in the first half.
Yeah, but he didn't.
One of them was, he got lucky. One of them was a dropped pick 6 by Sauce Gardner.
Oh, yeah, he dropped
that one was egregious, and that he just got really lucky there. But I hear what you're saying. That they look really good. They just look overall very solid. And again, you give Dak that much of a defense, and he doesn't have to basically try as hard. I mean, yeah, this is probably their best chance they've had in a while. So
yeah, they look more put together through 2 weeks than the Eagles do.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll kind of see how that turns out the further we get into the season. But, if I had to choose today, Cowboys over Eagles, but that might be a little premature. So we'll hold on to that one. Sunday Night Football. Miami Dolphins.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, I guess we should talk about the Jets. I got excited with the Cowboys.
I don't know. Do you want to talk about them? All I was gonna say is they can't start Zach.
Yeah, Zach Wilson's not the guy. He looked like he just didn't want to throw the football. He was just abandoning it over and over again. Like, oh, okay, he's a running back. Good for him.
I'll say this. We're just gonna leave all this in.
That's fine.
The Jets, I don't know. I mean, they obviously, to be fair, they didn't plan on this happening. Okay, so, but you also made your own bed with having him be the backup, which I said, and before the season started, I'm like, I don't know why he's still there. Is he really your backup? There's got to be somebody better.
Oh, there's
to start 100%
with somebody better. Like, I feel bad for the Jets for losing Aaron Rodgers, but I don't feel bad for the Jets because they kept Zach Wilson.
Right.
That's on you.
Exactly.
Again, you don't plan for injuries, but you always have to. You obviously didn't want Zach Wilson. That's why you brought in Aaron Rodgers. So why even keep him on the team?
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I'm like, you can't start him. Like, you cannot play this whole season with him as your starter the rest of the way. I don't see it. I mean, it goes to say of how many failed screens can you possibly have? It was absurd. How many times it's a screen with this guy who's running backwards all the time. Anytime there's pressure, he's 20 yards back. It's like that you're not setting him up for success. And again, it's like you made this guy your backup, so you should have had a game plan. And now you're running these plays. It just doesn't fit his game, I don't think. Or maybe the Cowboys defense is just that good and just made him look silly. I don't know, but you got to make some in-game, changes. Then, if you got to change your game plan or do something because they looked awful. And as good as that team could be, it's like either figure that out or you got to get somebody else. That's kind of where I'm at with the Jets because it does nobody saw this coming, but you can't run him out there if he's looking like that the rest of the season.
Yep, I agree with you. I don't know if they can, look for a trade somewhere. I'm sure somebody has a serviceable backup that's better than Zach Wilson somewhere on their bench.
Something.
But, yeah, it's going to be a long season if Zach Wilson's under center for the Jets. All right, are we ready? Are we ready for Sunday Night Football?
Sure. Not really. It was awful.
Dolphins, Patriots.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant Monday.
Oh, no. We'll get to that debacle.
I'm jumping the gun.
We'll get to that one. Slow down. I know you're excited about those games.
No.
Dolphins. I said it earlier in the show. Dolphins are a team that I'm, as a Chiefs fan, a little bit worried about. They're cut to the chase. They're 2-0, and their offense is very, very scary. Again, Tua had a nice game. In the air, they had a great game on the ground. And, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, I don't know what to do.
Right. Well, whatever Belichick was doing, I think just do that because, Tyreek didn't have the, ridiculous game he had against the Chargers. Their whole team was kind of shut down, but that's kind of what Belichick does best. So, Jalen Waddle still was kind of doing whatever he wanted.
Yeah. No, I guess I don't really know how to hold them at bay, but they're going to be a fun team. And honestly, the Jets out of the picture. Do the Dolphins win the AFC East?
I have to think so.
Yeah, I think they will. I don't know. I said this last year. The start that the Dolphins got off to before Tua's injury, I was like, oh no, they might be really good. And they're kind of picking up where they had left off last season with that.
Well, yeah, with the way that the Bills have looked, I mean, it's very, very possible that these guys just, I mean, Mike McDaniel, kind of believe in that guy. Did you see him run off the field after the game?
I saw him do it at halftime, I think.
Is that what it was?
Yeah,
Okay.
he sprinted off after an interview. He's
So
goofy.
Yeah. But he's kind of a weird genius as well. And yeah, I think you're on the right track. Like these guys could just turn around and say, "Okay, Bills, you lost your shot." So we talked about them too. Like they got that get right game, but they've kind of looked kind of back and forth and missed a lot of chances that they should have taken. And yeah, it's going to be a tough division actually.
It's gonna be a tough
even
division.
without Aaron Rodgers in it anymore.
Yep. Yeah, and talking about the Dolphins, the Patriots were there too. They were happy to be there. They had a chance to win it late and for 2 weeks in a row, and again came up short. I don't see it with Mac Jones. I don't know if they need to have Tom Brady come back or what, but Mac Jones is just I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't think Belichick wanted him, and now he's stuck with him. It sounds like they've kind of met, they kind of seen eye to eye in this offseason, but I don't know. I mean, again, we talked about this, but he's just so middle of the road, just a slightly above average guy, and I don't see it either. I think they need a lot more players, and there's, of course, the hot takes of like, well, Bill can't do it without Brady. And I'm like, I don't think that's the case. I think he needs a better quarterback.
Yeah, very just kind of okay Sunday night football game. But it wasn't worse than what the NFL gave us on Monday night. They decided for weeks 2 and 3, hey, let's do 2 Monday night football games. And I don't really understand why they're doing this, but I'm not a huge fan of it. I like the idea of Monday Night Football being a standalone game. It's under the bright lights. You get your own day. So, and you're splitting viewership. You have one game on ABC, you have the other game on ESPN, and both going on at the same time. So it's not like one's in the afternoon and the other one's in the evening. It's pick a game. It's weird decision. It's only for 2 weeks, so I'll get over it, but I don't understand why they're doing it.
I don't get it at all. It defies logic. Everything you said is like, what are we doing? What is the point? Who thought of this? Like, these questions need to be answered. Like, it literally defies logic. I don't understand it. And on top of that, they were both terrible games. I had them both playing, and I'm like, it was torture.
Yep.
Like, nobody wanted to win the games that they were in. It was like, how can this still be a game at the end of this? Yep. Like, both games are coming down to the wire. I mean, Pittsburgh at least, showed something with their defense. But yeah, both of these games were slogs.
Yeah, they Saints beat the Panthers 20-17 on the road. It was, again, we're not going to spend too much time on it. It was awful football. And same with Steelers Browns. Steelers are 1-1. Browns are now 1-1. Nick Chubb, unfortunately, had a gruesome injury. I had the luck of not seeing it. So, and I've been told not to look at it. So I'm not going to. But you saw it.
Yes.
And I'll let you kind of give your thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, you talk about Travis Kelce. I'm doing finger quotes like hyperextending his knee and playing in week 2. I would be shocked if this guy played again. Most people listening have probably seen somebody's knee go the wrong direction, like a full hyperextension.
Yep.
His knee was planted and he was falling forward. I do not suggest. I told you, and I were talking about an injury. You were like, I didn't want to see this. Somebody showed you a clip of a high school game and you're like, I don't need to see that.
Yep.
So
yeah,
I warned you last night. I was like, do not watch that, because I just did. And yeah, if you're squeamish about that, then this is like the most extreme case that I've seen of that. And it's not pretty. I don't think we've gotten the details of the full injury yet, but it's sounding like he's done for the season. Which I would be shocked if he wasn't.
Like you said, possibly done for his career. So this is a tweet from Adam Schefter from the other night. So Nick Chubb dislocated his left knee and tore his MCL, PCL, and LCL with cartilage damage on October 10th, 2015. And that is the same knee he injured during this game. So terrible injury 7 years ago, and did something that might be worse this right now. And he's obviously much older.
Right.
And I just not sure if we'll see him back. He's just highly unfortunate. Great running back. And brutal for the Browns. So that kind of wraps up week 1.
Week 2.
That wraps up week 2. And let's take a look ahead into some of the matchups for week 3. Chargers, Vikings. It's the battle of the 2 teams with playoff hopes trying not to go 0-3. So that'll be kind of interesting to watch. That game's at noon on Sunday.
Yeah.
Chiefs, Bears. We talked about it earlier. Chiefs are going to host the Bears and hopefully have their way with them. This shouldn't be a close game, but I've been watching a lot of Chiefs football in my life, and they like to make games close. That's just kind of what they do. So if this was for some reason a 3-point game, I would not be shocked. But I hope they go out there and take care of business against the Bears.
I sincerely hope it's not a 3-point game. The Chiefs, they can still have kind of growing pains because they just keep changing all these receivers. But they still have constants. Still early in the season. I don't know. Again, if it's another sloppy game, I'm still not going to be worried because of how many times these guys come back. But again, I feel like they should put this away.
Yeah, I agree with you. I want to look at 2 more games, and they're the double Monday night football games.
Oh, Lord.
Eagles, Bucks. So the Buccaneers are a surprise 2-0 team going against the Eagles. This should be a game that the Eagles should go on the road, and show everybody that the Buccaneers are pretenders and that the Eagles are the best team in the NFC. That is what they should do on Monday night.
I completely agree. I think, Mayfield had one of the rare games where he was pretty mistake-free, where he's just making good decisions, which is not what he's known for. But him and Mike Evans really, linked up and had a pretty solid game. But yeah, I think you're correct with the Pretenders, and Eagles clearly are not. That should be almost a blowout.
I agree. Yep. And then the last game, Bengals, Rams. So Bengals are 0-2. They have a QB that is injured. And are we sure he's going to play on Monday night?
We are not sure. It looks like he probably won't.
It looks like he won't. So this
As of Tuesday night.
This season might get away from the Rams. I mean, the Bengals. They could very easily be 0-3 because I do think that the Rams are going to have a bounce back year this year. I think they're going to be pretty good, and it's tough. But it's kind of a look ahead at week 3. This has been the Football Kingdom podcast. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.